Hello, everybody, and good morning. My name's Don Arleth, and you're watching World News, live from Warsaw here on TVP World. After talks at the White House, Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen confirmed a fundamental disagreement with the United States over Greenland. The high-stakes meeting delivered no breakthrough, and Rasmussen said the two sides have agreed to disagree for now. He added that the talks will continue.
We will meet again Friday in Copenhagen, so we will continue our discussion. And it is important that people in Congress and the Senate emphasize that, of course, everybody has to respect the UN Charter and the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark. Having said that, we know that we are in a different geopolitical situation in comparison with like 10 years ago, when everybody believed that the Arctic should be low tension area and everybody took the peace dividend. Things have changed, but we are also ready to step up. We have done that. We have invested almost 15 billion US dollars last year and the year before in capabilities in Greenland, and we are ready to do more. It should be done respectfully in a close cooperation with the Kingdom of Denmark and US and in the framework of NATO.
And Denmark plans to boost its military presence in Greenland as U.S. President Donald Trump cites national security and pushing to acquire the island. Other European allies are also stepping in. Norway and Germany have both agreed to deploy troops to Greenland.
It is the case that security policy tensions have spread to the Arctic. This means that we need an increased presence in and around Greenland. Therefore, in close dialogue with the Greenlandic government, we have agreed to increase our military presence and also our exercise activity in the Arctic and the High North, in close cooperation with our NATO allies. Now we are going to have a larger military footprint, and we are doing so because we believe it is the right thing to do. Also in relation to the need to have a greater degree of presence together with other NATO allies. This is also something that we have discussed continuously in NATO over the past 2 years, where I have strongly argued that NATO needs to take a greater interest in security to become a part of the NATO framework.
Despite Donald Trump's recent threats aimed at acquiring Greenland, Poland continues to believe in Washington's dedication to NATO. According to Polish Deputy Defense Minister Paweł Zalewski, the U.S. needs the alliance just as much as Europe.
We observe how strongly the United States are dedicated to NATO, and we draw consequences out of these observations, and that is what I say. We believe and we have very strong reasons for that, very strong argumentation that NATO is vital for not only European but also American security.
The violence against protesters in Iran is stopping, Donald Trump told reporters at the White House on Wednesday, explaining that the expected executions by the regime have been postponed. Trump had previously threatened Iran with military action should Tehran continue its brutal crackdown on protests.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset. But that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution.
The Iranian community around the world is observing developments in Iran with both hope and deep concern. TVP World spoke to an Iranian activist living in Poland who remains hopeful despite her fear for her brother, who was jailed by the regime.
This is Reyhaneh Manzouri. She's lived and worked in Poland for 6 years. She's telling me about the regime in Iran and how it's not hesitating to kill people.
Even a bit, it's not important, the life of Iranian. I'm serious, I'm not exaggerating this. I was there 15 years ago, I was in the protest, I know how it looks like. They don't care, they just kill. 15 years ago, one of my classmates was blind because they shoot like this, like in face to face.
Most Iranians are hesitant to talk to the media openly in fear of repression. But Reyhaneh has no reason to hide anymore. On the contrary, she feels the need to speak up to try and help her family.
Someone could connect through Starlink, I could WhatsApp them, and they could call my mom and ask what they are doing. Also, she told me that my brother was arrested during one of the protests a few days ago. I really don't know which day exactly because I didn't talk with them long and I don't have that many information. But yeah, so he's in jail, and my mom was not worried about that. She was more worried about what if this Islamic Republic is not end now.
Reyhaneh could only speak with her mom for 2 minutes in order to avoid detection by the regime. But there is a way she can listen to her brother every day.
This is the song that he wrote and he sang. It's about this, that he's asking to let him write about what is happening in Iran, let him write about the executions, let him write about the pain that people have in Iran. And he's saying, Bezar benevisam, that it means let me write.
Can we play some of it?
Yes.
As we listen to her jailed brother's voice, he's with us for a brief moment. And despite Reyhaneh's pain, she's leaving me with a message of hope.
It gives me a smile, although I'm sad and missing him, but when I hear this, I'm more proud of him. I know, as he said to my mom when they talk, he's fine. Not good, but he's fine because he's fighting for his future.
Yeah.
That's it.
According to Reyhaneh, these protests are different. She's calling them a revolution, and she hopes her country and her brother can finally be free. For TVP World, Kazimierz Łysiak.
According to Estonia, hundreds of Russian veterans of the war on Ukraine are allowed to travel to the European Union as tourists. A small Baltic nation said it will no longer issue them visas. And now a senior Polish official tells TVP World that Poland might do the same and demand action from Brussels.
Definitely, yes, definitely.
This is how Poland's Deputy Defense Minister Paweł Zalewski answered TVP World's question about whether Poland should speak out at the EU level on banning Russians who fought in Ukraine from entering the bloc. This comes after Estonia barred 261 Russian veterans from entry.
We must keep Europe's streets free from those with combat experience gained in wars of aggression.
The move aims to crack down on Russians with military training who could potentially perform tasks for Russian special services and get involved in organized crime, according to Estonian officials who also say,
This is only the beginning. We will keep working to ensure the door stays closed to Russian ex-combatants, and we call on other countries to do the same.
In 2024, some 550,000 tourist Schengen visas were granted to Russian nationals, which marks a 9% increase year-on-year. To address the issue, the EU tightened its visa policy for Russians in November 2025.
From now on, Russian nationals will no longer receive multiple entry visas. This means Russian nationals will have to apply for a new visa each time they plan to travel to the EU.
But this wasn't enough for Estonia, given what their objective is.
Our priority is to establish a unified Schengen-wide blacklist and to impose a ban on issuing Schengen visas and EU residence permits to all identified Russian former combatants.
And Estonia is hoping to make waves across the EU, analysts say.
We have seen this in the past also, that many things can be actually initiated by the member states, and at the end of the day, other states will follow, and then it becomes maybe, hopefully, EU policy.
It seems Estonia has already garnered support from Poland, and some promises of raising the issue at the EU level have been made.
So can you promise us to do that?
Absolutely. So I will talk to my colleagues responsible for that team in Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
For TVP World, I'm Piotr Miszczuk.
Leader of the Hungarian opposition, Péter Magyar, has declared that should he win the upcoming parliamentary elections, his first official visit will be to Warsaw, not to Moscow or Beijing.
The first trip of the Prime Minister of the Tisza government will not be to Beijing or Moscow, but to Warsaw.
Hungary's opposition leader Péter Magyar has long made it clear he wants better relations with Poland. With campaigning for April's parliamentary elections now underway, his foreign policy is taking shape. Tensions between Hungary and Poland are high over Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's pro-Russian policy and his granting asylum to two Polish ex-ministers accused of serious crimes.
Asylum case is again something that is not supposed to be done between allies, between friendly countries.
A Magyar victory could remove Hungary from the EU's so-called awkward squad, countries that adhere to Donald Trump's vision of MAGA Europe. Slovakia, led by Orbán ally Robert Fico, is already in Magyar's sights. He's accused the government there of mistreating the country's Hungarian minority.
One of the goals of a common Europe is to ensure that Hungarians in Felvidek can live in peace in their homeland while preserving their Hungarian identity. Neither Hungary nor Europe will accept that Slovakia confiscates land from our Hungarian compatriots by invoking the Beneš decrees. As the President of the Slovak Republic, I will say openly that I find it insulting that the future potential Prime Minister of Hungary wrote a letter, not to me, but to the head of government, in which he refers to Slovakia as Felvidek.
Magyar's use of the term Felvidek, associated with Hungarian nationalism, may be an attempt at outflying Orbán's position as a nationalist.
Magyar tries to show himself as a defender of the Hungarian national interest. Orbán always presented himself as a defender of Hungarian minorities abroad. He has this ideological and political alignment with Robert Fico. He's silent.
Magyar's aim is to take Orbán's party Fidesz head-on in its heartland of small towns in a Hungarian countryside. According to the latest opinion polls, that strategy is working. Magyar's Tisza party currently enjoys a 13-point lead. For TVP World, Andrew Sweeney.
Protesters have clashed with law enforcement in Minneapolis. Smoke and explosions were seen in multiple places in the city. During Wednesday night's federal immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis, one man was shot in the leg, according to the Minnesota Star Tribune. The outlet quotes eyewitnesses who said a series of gunshots followed a car chase involving federal agents. Clashes between protesters and the federal authorities took place in the same neighborhood as an earlier shooting occurred. Unrest in the city continues 1 week after a 37-year-old woman behind the wheel of her car was shot dead by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent. And that's all the time we have here on World News. Thanks for watching and stay with us for more here on TVP World.